Hi, I'm Perry Atkinson, General Manager here at theDove. Hey, check out our other videos and check out our website at thedove.us. Well, welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson. And, you know, a lot of times when theDove was just a radio station, now we're a radio network and also a television network, I used to air these little comedy clips of a very funny lady, Chonda Pierce, and I would play those throughout the morning and people would roar and run out and buy the CD. Well, today we have the honor to have with us Chonda Pierce, and she's called the Queen of Clean Comedy, and she's written a book. I think it's absolutely fascinating. In fact, I wish I had Chonda for the whole hour because there's a lot I'd like to talk to her about, but you may want to check it out, because the book is really getting a lot of attention, and I think you'll find it to be pretty interesting. Anyway, it's called Laughing in the Dark, and we want to talk to Chonda about that. And Chonda, good to see you. Where are we Skyping you in from this morning?
My home in Nashville, Tennessee.
Well, nice to see you. How you doing, my friend?
You know, I'm hanging in there, good days and bad, but grief is the gift that keeps on giving. So, and no one can do it for you. You just have to walk through it. But today's a good day. Today's a good day.
Our deepest sympathy for the loss of your husband.
Thank you very much. He was a great man, and you know, it's interesting, Perry, that I wrote "Laughing in the Dark" when I was walking through the dark, because I was clinically depressed. Now I've got some things to be depressed about. And I still find God greatly faithful. And so that's good.
Why is there darkness behind the laughter?
You know, I don't think I'm unique in that. I think there's a lot of comedians. As a matter of fact, you know, just lately in the news with the death of Robin Williams, there's a lot of us who come from dark places or maybe traumatic times in our childhood that maybe it's just slanted us a bit to enjoy the laughter or to use the laughter. And in a lot of ways, I see a lot of comics who are angry, and that comes out in their sarcasm. I see a lot of comics who are dealing with their addictions through laughter. And sometimes, you know, the devil's in the business of perverting all good things. And so even that art of comedy is used sometimes to cover up some pain, and it works for them for a while. And I think it probably was that way for me for a while, and then it didn't work. Then I had to do some deep-seated work and get to the bottom of some issues that then I become no longer sarcastic, but I enjoyed the laughter as well.
All right, Chonda, I don't even know how to ask this question, but I've interviewed a lot of professionals in the past that try to describe depression and the levels of depression. But from your experience, and maybe with the reflection of Robin Williams, what is it? How would you describe it?
You know, I used to say all the time, if Satan is the author of lies, then depression is his cell phone, and he will use it to call you constantly. It is a constant view. You know, I used to tell people, go home and take a heavy feather pillow and wrap it to the top of your head. Just tie it to the top of your head and then put on a dark pair of sunglasses and wear that 24/7 until you realize it's becoming an effort to just hold your head up. And then whether it's indoor, outdoor, sunny day, you know, rainy day, keep those sunglasses on, and then you will be able to see that when you are deeply depressed, you view the world a little darker than most folks. Your head is heavier, and there is a true physical component to depression. I know that from experience, and I've also talked to a lot of folks who deal with it. Many times when depression first comes on, you think you've got the flu. You think you've got something wrong with you. You're run down, or your muscles are aching, because there's a true physical component to that psychological feeling. And then there's also the biological components of depression, where your serotonin is not what it should be. Your messages and your neurotransmitters aren't transmitting the way that they should. And so those are the very physical attributes. And I say that pointedly, because depression is not a spiritual issue every time. Now, sometimes there is. Sometimes if you have really, or you're wrestling with something, or you're in a situation in your life that you just don't need to be, God's going to gnaw away at you until you come clean with Him. But when everything is right in your life with you and the Lord and you and your spouse, and on the outside it seems like everything should be in place, and yet you are still down, that's depression. And so those are the things that you have to go get some help for. You got to talk to somebody, and sometimes talk therapy is enough, and sometimes that's not enough, and then you have to move into that biological component where you got to get some medicine, you got to get some things that's going to help your brain chemistry to balance out a little bit better. And I always tell people, I am clinically depressed. I have a chemical imbalance in my body. I'm not right now because I'm highly medicated. I thank the Lord for every milligram.
Well,
I had a man come up to me at church one time and say, "Have you ever thought there's, some unconfessed sin in your life?" And I go, "Well, if he doesn't know it, I'm not telling him, because he's the Almighty God." Sometimes we pull out a little piece of a scripture verse and want to use it over somebody's head. Or somebody told me one time, "I don't think you should talk about taking antidepressants in public because it makes your faith look weak." And I said, "Well, then you need to take your glasses off and drive home." We have a tendency in our world, Perry, to think we have the fix for everybody, but only God does. And sometimes if we start running our mouth, we're running ahead of God, and God is needing that person to need medicine. That God is needing that person to understand their humanity, and He works in mysterious ways. Believe me.
well, thank you for your transparency in that. I'm just taken by your openness on that, because I don't know if we get a handle. I don't know if we can fully understand what you have experienced and others experience. How did you balance your faith? Did you ever feel like God was letting you down?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the sweet thing is, I told him about it a lot. Okay. And I think it was living proof that He is a loving God, because no lightning bolts came through my house. I lamented like many people in the Bible do. "Oh, where are you, God?" And so I was not alone in that. But like Job, you get to that place where you go, "But I will still serve Him. I will still," and you choose that. I think my faith has been so critically important in the foundation of getting through depression, in that I tell people all the time, rehearse in the dark what you learned in the light. In the light, I knew who God was. In the light, He was the Almighty. I knew He brings joy, and I choose His joy. And the joy of the Lord is my strength, not my own joy, but His joy. So all those things act in the, and so when you're not feeling them, then that's when you choose to rehearse in the dark what you learned in the light. And it works. Don't ask me how. That's engaging faith in a way you never thought you would have to. But you do, and you get through it, and it does pass, and it change. And I have learned, I know this sounds crazy, but I have learned, I'm saying it, that I have finally found to be grateful for the depression, because finally I can serve Him and love Him and honor Him and praise Him because of who He is, not because how I feel. Because if I went every day on my feelings, my goodness, I'm in the middle of menopause. My mood for the Lord changes every 5 minutes. He is not bound by our own feelings, but He is rock solid in who He is.
Wow. So you could understand Robin Williams, and did you ever get to that point yourself?
Yes, I did. And what it is, I don't know. Sometimes the suicidal plan is well thought out, and you think, man, that took some ingenuity. And Robin and I share the same management team, and we share a couple of lawyers, and we have acquaintances. I only met him briefly one time, but you want to throw your arms around somebody. That pain that he dealt with, he had to have been in such pain, and emotional pain can translate so much into physical pain that you don't even think. You aren't thinking of what it's going to do to your family. You don't think of spiritual things. You just want out of the pain. And so it's great pain that drives someone to do that. Sadly, I don't know anything about his life, but I question all the time going, when you have a loved one that you know is in that kind of pain, don't leave them alone. Don't allow them to be on the other side of a door where a door is locked, and I know that's not always easy, and I certainly wouldn't throw dispersions or guilt into anyone's life, because sometimes no matter what you try, no matter what you do, your loved one takes their life, and it's a tough place, but but you can get through it. Those who are left can get on the other side of that, and those who take their lives or are thinking about it even right now as we speak, there is hope, and that moment that you feel like you've run out of hope, that's a sad moment, and he simply went out of pain. The other thing that didn't quite surprised me of the way that he took his life was that I used to tell people all the time, what goes up must come down. And Robin was notorious for being this off the wall, just almost manic, just talk and funny, and we loved that. And he was brilliant, and his mind raced faster than any of ours. But whatever goes up must come down. And I tell people all the time, if you wake up in the morning after your son's Little League game and you can't figure out why you don't want to get out of bed, it's because a few hours before you were screaming your head off and all excited at the ball game. So that adrenaline, whatever that is, has to come down at some point. And if you're prone for depression, that down is even deeply down for you. And so when you have a life like Robin's that is just so off the chart, when he comes down, it was a deep valley, and my heart goes out to his family and to those that loved him very much.
The book is entitled Laughing in the Dark. Chonda Pierce, you may want to get a copy of that. And really, she's very transparent. You're going back on tour, and I commend you for that. And your experiences, I know people like to see you in the comedian state, but isn't that a platform for you to just kind of convey God's grace?
I think for the lack of a better word, for the true Chonda follower out there, they won't be surprised that I go back to work. I have always used the comedy as, like you said, it's kind of my own opening act. Some preachers, they have a long sermon and just a little funny illustration at the beginning of it. I have a really long, funny illustration and then just a little sermon at the end. So that's kind of been my MO for my entire career, so it won't surprise anybody. For me, I lost two sisters as a teenager. I lost my mother 2 years ago, and now I've lost my husband, and it does seem like a lot, and I question that. And I told the Lord the other day, now I don't need any more components to my testimony. I'm done. And at the same time, then I get to laughing, going, my husband, it's only right that he went first, so now he has to spend some time with my mother. Because 22 years of marriage, you avoided it. And now the Lord says, you're going to have to get to know this woman.
Oh, Chonda, you're a delight, man, an inspiration. Thank you. You'll never know how you ministered today. Thank you so much, and the best to you. And I would like to talk to you after you've come back off your tour and see how it went for you.
Better believe it. I'll probably be a little more hoarse, but I'll talk to you.
All right, sweetie. Thanks. Have a great day.
Thanks, Perry.
Okay, bye-bye. All right, we'll be right back.